Last time on My Hero Academia, the battle between Dabi and Todoroki reached a blazing news point and also turned ice cold as Todoroki used the combination of his two abilities to create something that even Dabi couldn't stand up against. Now, it looks as though Dabi might have finally been put down, without killing him nonetheless. Is it truly over? Of course not. There are still plenty more battles raging on. What's going to happen next? Let's find out. Ooh, look at that cover. Okay, so the thing that Todoroki was producing, the X-shape, apparently because it's hard to tell what's going on when it's in just black and white, it's actually like ice and fire across his chest. That is cool. Pun fully intended. Oh, that is wicked though. Yeah, I can't wait to see that animated. Alright, Shoto looks burned out. Dabi just looks passed out, burning. Slowly gets up and she is burnt to shit. But she gets on the communication and says, "He's down," and shouts, "Dabi is down." Another hero shouts, I can't imagine how painful it must have been, but he pulled it off. The boy did it. Shoto beat the blue flame. Following Shoto's footsteps, the big guy's the last one standing, and you see the massive Nomu towering over the heroes. Overwhelm it with everyone we've got. We've got the advantage in numbers. And you see some others treating the fallen heroes. It is a free-for-all. Only because our block got the lucky draw back there. Think about Kuned or Gashly. It'd be a totally different story if we were dealing with Tartarus escapees like them. Okay, so we're hyping up what's coming up next. Since we got so lucky, we gotta spread some of the luck around and even the playing field. And then an announcement. The news from Kamino Ward's Ground Zero reaches Tsukauchi's team in the command center. And you see All Might, and he's welling up with tears and sadness on his face. He cries out, "Todoroki, kid." Tsukauchi pats All Might on the back and says, "It was a rocky start with Midoriya warping to the wrong spot, but this victory feels like a good omen. Spread the word, All Might." And then we cut over to Jaku Hospital ruins outside Gigantomachia's detainment facility. All squads heard the good news. Oh, it's that sludge villain. And then we have the team of Ashido, Mineta, Kodai, Yanagi, and Honuki, the Mudman. So, a pretty good team, all things considered. And do you see Mount Lady stomping around as she shouts, "The way he's got his head in the clouds had me worried for nothing. I love that kid." And one of the villains cries out, "We had this sneak attack all set up. Why are they here ready for us?" Yeah, I thought so. That's the guy who killed Midnight. One of the villains in the crowd says, "It was all a ruse on their part, pretending to be scattered and without unity. But they had several dozen heroes stationed here, prepared to go on the defensive. They must have foreseen that our detached force would try to steal back this powerhouse during the operation. However, they've squandered their resources. The era of liberation is at hand. Those purveyors of falsehood will be crushed beneath our boot, just like that UA school teacher." And it kind of seems like Ashido hears that, but then in comes Kaminari, stomping in saying, "Sorry I'm late." Much to Ashido's surprise, Red Riot shouts, "The escort mission's done, Pinky. Let's do this, people. Our very own Todoroki showed everyone what a dude he is. We gotta stay strong and hold this defensive line." Meanwhile, you got a grouping of Sato, Ojiro, Sero, and Subaraba, the dude who can create like the air shields and stuff, over at the National Tokoba Arena. Sato says, "We'll have to celebrate his win when the battle's over." Ojiro says, "I remember people saying he'd be outmatched." Sero seems to pause. Something's up with Sero. And then we cut to up in the sky, UA main building. Bakugo shouts, "Didn't expect any less from you, Todoroki." And it seems we cut over to Fat Gum and Aoyama. Oh, this is the Kunede who escaped from Tartarus. You see them atop a bunch of massive flowers saying, "Considering this matchup, it's clear that the priority with those cages was splitting up only the primary fighters on our side. As for dealing with us dregs, you planned on improvising on the spot. once in battle. On what basis, though? Trust? Hope, perhaps? Such things, invisible to the eye, coat this planet like oppressive membrane. Ooh, that is a funky design. Fat Gum says, what are you, some kind of alien? This planet, you say? Kunade says, this is about empirical unity and harm. No, empirical utility and harm. None of those who have deceived him in the past have survived for long. Exceptions will not be tolerated. Because of Dictator's failure, my turn never came around. But now I can demonstrate my utility to All for One as one of his assassins. And the dregs that I mentioned will all be coming after you, unceasingly. Yuga Aoyama, the Bat of Aesop. And all Aoyama can say is, mercy. Oof. Yeah, that is true. I never even considered that. With all these villains around, they're all gonna be gunning for Aoyama because he's the big betrayer. Whoa. You have Present Mike shouting out, Shoto took down Dabi! And Shoji says it was a cruel duty placed on him, but he stood tall and faced it anyway. As he grabs Koda and dives out of the way as a massive spinner brings down his blades. Well, he tries to bring him down on top of them. Man, Spinner is yoked. He shouts, Dabi lost? No chance in hell. This has gotta be information warfare. Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah, he's definitely on those quirk boosters from Vigilantes. And Spinner thinks back to the last time he saw Dabi, with Dabi saying, like I need any of that crap. I guess the quirk booster and stuff. And Spinner thought to himself, he always had everything. A reason to live on, a goal, power too. Things I lack, everything. And Spinner shouts, his convictions could never fail him, right? They locked up Kurogiri, but we're taking him back in order to destroy the status quo. For Shigaraki's sake, for our sake, to demolish the system that oppressed us. And Shoji thinks to himself, Todoroki, I'm so proud I made it into your class. You know what? I think I know what's about to happen here. Why it ended up being Spinner and Koda facing off Shoji and Koda facing off against Spinner. Because they're the two members of Class 1A who look the most different. And Shoji has continuously hid his face. And I think at some point we'll see what his face actually looks like and why he constantly hides it. And that'll be a way of showing people that even though Shoji looks so different, he still wants to do the right thing. I feel like that's what we're setting up with having him face off against Spinner. Meanwhile, at the Kamino Ward, Ida comes over to Todoroki, and Todoroki, beaten and bruised, looks up at him and says, your engine's stalled, right? Sorry. Ida says, you have nothing to apologize for, as he places a hand around Todoroki's shoulder. Several people go over to Dabi, with one of them saying, how's he still alive in this state? And then you see what almost looks like something awaken inside of Dabi? Maybe Dabi's not done just yet. And then we have the announcement, and of course, word reaches here too. Gunga Mountain Villa ruined. Oh right, that villa that All for One was trying to lure the heroes into. And you have Endeavor's just this very kind of concerned, maybe relieved face, and All for One speaks down to Endeavor. What does that face imply? Affection? Grief? Hawks meanwhile thinks, here it comes, and tells Endeavor, don't listen, don't pay him any mind, Endeavor. And Hawks thinks, here comes the mind games, as All for One continues, you refuse to take a good look at Toya, foisting the task onto little Shoto instead. That must have been your decision, right? And you justify that choice by being here. Heroes just have so much to protect, right? This is why you lose, number one. As he holds out his hand as a variety of quirks just dance on his fingertips. Alright, so Endeavor and Hawks versus off against All for One. I don't know how that's gonna go down. It's hard to really tell who's gonna come out on top of that situation. Is Dabi really done? I don't know. I don't feel like that's the end of it. It feels like it should be, but I don't know. Spinner versus Shoji? I think that's a great matchup. You know, Koda's cool and all, but his Annie voice can only do so much. I feel like we've been waiting a while to really see Shoji just go all out. And against a roided up spinner, that feels like it's about right. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of retribution in that Bat of Aesop's reference. I had to look that up, where the Bat of Aesop's played both parts of a war and in the end was punished for his misdeeds. It'll be interesting to see, though, what really does become of Aoyama at the end of all of this. We did not get a lot of what's going on with Bakugo because I feel like that would be massive spoilers. Sero, that ... that he has above his head implies so much. So much could be going on with him. I really do have to wonder. It's cool that Red Riot showed up on the battlefield, but by having Ashido come face to face with the person who killed Midnight, dude, I'm wondering where that's gonna go. Not to mention, I think Gigantamachi might be unleashed, and it'll be Kirishima who goes up against him, because I felt for the longest time like there's some weird connection between Kirishima and Gigantamachi, but I just can't place what it is. I wonder. But if this is the end of the fight between Dabi and Todoroki, it was an explosive finale. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you really think the first round of things is over? Or are you expecting a little bit more? I can't wait to hear from you. Subscribe, that way you don't miss out on the next video. Or don't. I ain't your daddy, but I still love you like one. Until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.